Mousetrable News fans, Syria has announced that it will be sending 4,000 of their Revolutionary Guard members to Syria to bolster the efforts of Bashar al-Assad and the Syrian government against the FSA mercenary terrorists which are tearing up the country right now. The situation is starting to escalate in favor of Bashar al-Assad with the ongoing hostilities. The US-backed and NATO-backed forces are suffering tremendous defeat at the hands of the Syrian military. A contingent of them have already been sent to the country, as was reported by the Independent, quoting Iranian sources. Now, what this could very well likely lead to, and what many are worried that it will lead to, is an opening up of a Syrian front against Israel around the Golan Heights. Now, this is something that's very likely to happen given that the Golan Heights are stolen property and that there has been a great instability in the area thanks to crossfire attacks. Attacks that have been launched across the border at each other, particularly with missiles being launched from inside the Golan Heights into Syria. Now, this has all been made worse by the fact that Israeli-backed forces have been, launching these attacks, and that Austria has withdrawn its peacekeepers, which means what little regulatory force was actually there is now no longer available. And like I said, and on top of this, Israel has been carrying out airstrikes against Syria in violation of the law. The contradictions of imperialism here are quite stark. Notice the US and Israel on the same side as Al-Qaeda. Now, we do see that these increasing numbers of Al-Qaeda members or groups that claim to be linked to Al-Qaeda are showing up in Syria and fighting on behalf of the interests of Israel, the United States, NATO, and frankly the global capitalist class. Do we not see the contradiction here? That supposedly we're supposed to believe that Al-Qaeda is coming to destroy us at any moment. They're going to bomb our buildings. They're Islamic fundamentalists, yet here they are on the side of Israel. Here's Israel. It was literally teaming up with radical Islamic militants to take down a secular state. It's very interesting when we stop and we take a look at these contradictions within imperialism. Now, we should not be surprised these are happening. After all, the Syrian rebels are getting their asses kicked. They've had several high-profile losses against the Syrian military, and that is starting to make them look bad. And one reason why the U.S. has recently fabricated the claim of Bashar al-Assad's military using chemical weapons. Now, the inclusion of Iran in this also does show more of the situation that's going on in the Middle East. We should not be surprised that these two states, frankly the last two that aren't puppets of imperialism inside the Middle East, are now beginning to join forces to defend themselves from imperialism. The contradictions of imperialism, the fact that it must drive forward to take everything, gives rise to that contradiction of the anti-imperialist forces also rising up, driving together people who might not have otherwise been allies. That's not to say that Iran and Syria were against each other or anything. I'm just saying it is now driving forces together. An Islamic republic and a secular republic are now coming together in one force to defend each other, because the conditions of anti-imperialist struggle are forcing people together to team up who probably have not done so before and probably wouldn't have normally have done so. Now, this is the great contradiction. This is the great contradiction that the imperialist and anti-imperialist forces. This has to lead to a qualitative change, a radical break that ends this contradiction, and hopefully that result will be the destruction of U.S. imperialism in the Middle East.